Hello there, I'm Michelle Lindwall, a clinical nurse consultant in the United States at PBUSA. I'm joined with Maya Hoshino-san and Kazuya Takahashi-san today, and we're going to share some information with you about the lifting pole. This lifting pole is attached to the A6 bed, and here in the United States, it's not out of the ordinary to have a lifting pole attached to a bed for a variety of patients. Patient populations may include patients that have had traumatic motor vehicle accidents or orthopedic surgeries, or even potentially bariatric patients who are larger and need to have some ability to support in-bed mobility. The lifting pole gives them an option. In addition to the side rails, it gives them another point of contact with the bed to boost and reposition themselves, in which time where they may not have use of their legs, or with bariatric patients, they're just larger patients, so they need a little bit more support. So this lifting pole is already attached to the bed. When you get your patient in the bed, you're gonna have typically a doctor's order or some type of consultation that says, hey, let's have a lifting pole to help this patient have better mobility in the bed. They're gonna have it attached to the bed per the attachment protocol. And then once the patient's in the bed, you're gonna explain to them what it is and how they're gonna use it. So you have the pole portion that's going to support the patient's weight when they're using it, and then they're going to typically have this hand grip. Now, right now, as Kazuya-san is laying here, it's a little bit towards his face, so if we wanted to make it higher, we would adjust the strap here with the strap adjustment to make it higher. You're going to kind of evaluate it patient by patient to determine what's the best location, because when the patient's flat in the bed, this may be too high if we get it up here with the adjustment. So you're gonna just have to optimize it for each individual patient. When it's not in use, it can be supported up here, like this, so it's out of the patient's face. Not, they may be watching TV, they may be eating, they don't wanna get bopped in the face with it. Additionally, you'll see here on this lifting pole, there are two locations that this grip support could be positioned at. If we put it on the further back positioning point, it's gonna be really in his face, so we don't wanna go there for this patient. But you're just gonna have to assess case by case, okay? So if he moved down, he migrated down in the bed through the course of the day, he's going to do that right now to kind of help us simulate how the patient and how the staff can use this. So if he's migrated, he's kind of been a little antsy, moving around, he's migrated down. Now he needs to boost up, or we need to boost him for him. We can put the head down so he's not going against resistance with the head of the bed. First scenario, we're gonna move him up, okay? So he can hold on to the grip and kind of lift his body up slightly, not yet, but when we actually move him. So the staff would have some type of a lifting sheet to help boost. So on 3, he can lift up and we can boost him up more easily, because he takes some of that weight and pressure off the bed as we move, okay? We got him really far up. So that's good, it was less effort on our part. So go ahead and scooch down again, like you would maybe migrated down in the bed over the course of the day. And let's say we're not in the room and he wants to boost himself up. He can you reach that to take it down? There you go. He can take it down and do it without using your legs, because maybe you're an orthopedic surgery patient and you have some surgical ailment to your legs. He's kind of inching up in the bed with the support of the lifting pole, okay? So he's pretty far up. Maybe he just needs to get a little pressure off of his backside. That can also be a potential way he can use the lifting pole to help himself. Now, if he needed to use a bedpan, the nursing staff could use the lifting pole. He could help kind of lift up his hips, and the bedpan could be positioned under, instead of an alternative way where we would turn him over, put the bedpan under, and then lay him back on top of the bedpan. So there's another solution that this offers for the patient and the care staff. Okay, We're gonna put his head up, make him a little more comfortable. If there was an emergency situation where we needed to perform CPR, maybe gain access to his head to intubate him with a breathing tube, or let's say that a staff member was doing a lot of work with maybe a chest dressing, this is gonna be in our way potentially, but there's a solution for that. So back at the head end of the bed, there are these bolts with the red dots. They loosen by rotating in opposite directions with each hand, okay? What the staff is gonna do is they're gonna disconnect the bolts, and then that gives free rotation of the lifting pole, okay? You can do to the patient's right, you can have it in the center where it would most likely be for the patient's use, or you could position it to the left. If, in this case, we're gonna position it to the right, and you'll see when it's rotated a certain angle, one of these holes lines up with these 3 holes here at the head end of the bed. You can't see it right now, but you can work with the example you have in the showroom there, okay? The bolt goes all the way through. The other knob, you're gonna hold one side and tighten with the other. Just do righty-tighty and position all the way, okay? So now it's out of the center area. It gives more space to gain access to the chest, the head, whatever. I wanted to show you on a closer angle the considerations for emergency situations and the lifting pole. So right now it's in the center, but if we needed to perform CPR or maybe put a breathing tube in to manage his airway, if we went to access his head, we would have some resistance with the lifting pole. So it is movable. You disconnect the black bolt. Each hand would turn in the opposite direction. The bolt comes out. And you'll see here there's 3 holes. When it's in the center, the top hole in the middle of the tube lines up with the top hole of the outer tube. When we turn it to the right for the patient, the bottom holes line up, and when we turn it to the left, the middle holes line up. So in this case, I'm gonna position it towards the patient's left. I'm gonna secure and tighten the black bolts. And that way, if I needed to maybe give him extra breathing with the ambu bag, I have no resistance, no interference with the lifting pole in his face. If I needed to get closer to his head, even though the lifting pole is on, you can still move the headboard out of the way. So if we needed to angle his head back, put the breathing tube in, I have full access to his face, even though the lifting pole's here. If the patient's being transported somewhere, some of the lifting poles in the United States, when the bed goes up, typically the transport team will position the bed in a higher level because it's a easier pushing resistance instead of having it low, because then they're bending. So when they position it up, that raises the height of the lifting pole, and sometimes it's so high that you can't get in and out of the doors. So I don't foresee that being a huge problem here in the United States with this lifting pole, because it is a bit lower than the ones that I've seen from the competition. But if that were to be a problem, they could disassemble the black knob bolt completely and lift it out and then lay it in the bed with the patient. If the patient was just going off the unit, for example, for an x-ray, they could take it off and leave it in the room, transport the patient to their other area, bring them back, and then reinsert it upon return to the room. So those are some of the considerations of using a lifting pole. Thank you, Maya Hoshino-san, and thank you, Kazuya Takahashi-san. You were a very good patient. And if you have any questions, feel free to email the United States.